Peaceful vibrations, everyone. You are back with Ozma, the author of the Veganism Cookbook. And today we're going to make something a little bit different. Today let me put a little more light on. Yes. Today we are going to make some smothered mushroom steaks. Yeah, you heard me. Smothered mushroom steaks. The type, I guess my light don't want to work right now, but that's okay. The type of mushrooms that I'm going to use is going to be portabella mushrooms. There's a reason that I'm using portabella mushrooms. I pre-cleaned them and everything because they have more of a thicker, meatier texture as opposed to some other mushrooms. You'll see me use different variations of mushrooms for different recipes. Just as you saw um, with the mushroom bacon, I use king oyster mushrooms. But with these, I'm going to use these portobello mushrooms to make our steaks. It has much of a thicker texture, so it's not going to break as easily as we cook it. Also, I'm going to you can pair your smothered mushroom steaks and gravy with whatever you want to pair it with. What I'm going to pair it with is some pre-cut beets and sweet potatoes and some fried Brussels sprouts. Mm. Any kind of red food is really good for the heart. So beets is good for heart. Okay? For heart, blood circulation, all of that. All right, so let's get started, y'all. Let me put this down for a second. We're not going to put our mushrooms in the pot first. We're not going to do that. Right now, what we're going to do first is we're going to take some water, which I put aside. I put about, matter of fact, I'm going to pour it in this. I'm going to put maybe a cup or a cup and a half of water. I'm going to pour some water in here. Let me show you my pot and tilt this down so you guys can see more of what I'm doing. Maybe like a cup and a half, maybe like 2 cups. 2 cups of water. And I ran out of grapeseed oil, which is what I usually make it in. But I'm going to use sunflower oil instead because that's what I have access to right now. Sometimes you got to do whatever you got access to. And I'm going to put, let's see, maybe a capful, 2 capfuls. And what I'm going to put in here first, before we make the gravy, because we're going to make the gravy later down, I'm going to put my onions in here. I pre-cut some Vidalia onions, but you can use any onions of choice. I pre-cut them, and I like them thick because it's going to be a nice, rich, thick gravy sauce. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to caramelize the onions. And then I'm going to cover the pot, let it cook a little bit, because food likes to kind of cook in privacy. And as I do that, then I'm going to walk you guys through the entire process. Okay? So let's get started. Let me take some of my onions. I pre-cut these onions, these Vidalia onions here. Let's see. See, I got some small onions, so I cut 2 up. But if you have a nice big Vidalia onion, you can cut up 1. Just put it in there. And to caramelize it, I usually sometimes use vinegar, or sometimes what I do is I use coconut vinegar. Yes, raw coconut vinegar. It's a company called Coconut Secret. And it tastes and smells exactly like vinegar. Exactly. But it's not vinegar. It's just an aged coconut. So I'm going to put a little bit of that in here. Right over the onions especially. Let's see. Going to put some more onions in here. The rest of these pieces. Bam. Let's turn my heat on medium. How has your day been? I am still doing my cleanse. I'm still doing my cleanse. Let's see. So I'm going to put these in here. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of seasonings and things like that as it caramelizes. Not too much because I'm going to season more as I got the mushrooms in there and I start making more of the gravy and different things like that. But yeah, if you're someone who tries to stick more to Dr. Savi's school of thought with alkalinity, this might be a good alternative for vinegar for you. Even though you're not really supposed to cook the vinegar, but you do what you can. You do the best you can. The only two seasonings I'm gonna put in here right now while the onions are caramelizing Put a little bit of pink Himalayan. Some parsley. Parsley just makes everything look pretty. I had a friend in college named Jessica, and we had a potluck together. And Jessica put parsley on like top of everything. She garnished everything. And I was asking why she's like, parsley just makes everything look pretty. And that always stuck with me ever since she said that. So I thought that was kind of funny. So that always stuck with me, and I think about that when I cook. So I'm going to show you guys when it starts caramelizing more. I'm actually going to add more onions in here because my onions were so small, little baby onions. I wanted to have more thicker, more onions. I like it to be rich in onions because I'm an onion kind of person. Okay, so we'll be right back. So I'm gonna let these simmer and cook down for maybe about 10 to 15 minutes. These onions, I actually put a lot of water. Usually when I'm bugging. Usually when I uh, caramelize the onions, I usually use oil and not too much water, but that's okay. We're gonna rock it out. I'm gonna let it cook down till the water kind of dissolves, and then as we go along, we're gonna add more water to the process. So I covered it up. It's already starting to boil a little bit. In the meantime, while I'm waiting, I'm going to start with my sweet potatoes and beets. Start putting that in a pot. And I'm going to put it in a little bit of agave and some cinnamon because I kind of want to maintain that sweetness of it. I put some water at the bottom. This is, just something that I'm pairing it with. I put about a cup of water at the bottom. And I'm going to, put the seasonings, not a lot of seasonings, but I'm going to let it kind of saute in this pot and simmer down and different things while I'm waiting on this. Okay, so feel free to start the next part of your meal whatever you're pairing your smothered mushroom steaks with while these are sauteing and caramelizing. Okay. You may not have noticed that I chopped the beets and the sweet potatoes down relatively small. That's because they're raw, so they're still like kind of hard, and I want them to cook in that water and break down and not be hard when I pair it with everything and when I eat. I'm also gonna add some vegan butter to that. So I use Earth Balance. It's soy free. I use the soy free one because I try not to consume a lot of soy. Um, but yeah, feel free to do all of that. So in the beets and the sweet potatoes, I'm going to put vegan butter, maybe like a scoop of it. Doesn't need it so much. Probably like a tablespoon. It's gonna give it like a nice creaminess to it and cook down well. I'm gonna add some agave and I'm gonna add some cinnamon. Wanted to bring something up about the agave. Give me 2 seconds. I have 2 different types of agave, and I wanted to point something out about the agave to you guys. Hold on. All right. So let me point something out about the agave. This is the main agave that you see in the stores. One of the main ones. Agave, I have a lot of clients that would tell me that they can't consume agave because it raises their blood sugar. I'm going to tell you why. Agave in its purest form is low glycemic index, which is supposed to be good for diabetics or people struggling with sugar issues. The regular agave here, one of the regular ones, when you look at the back, the ingredients say organic blue agave, like there's nothing else in there, right? But they have to put something else in there because the total sugars are 16 grams. And that's per tablespoon. So either they're adding corn syrup or something else inside of it that's raising people's blood sugar. Because in its purest form, like look at this one. This one is per teaspoon, but it's only 1 gram. You see the difference? And this is one that I found for $4.99 at Home Goods. So I just wanted to show you guys that it's not the agave, it's the purity of the agave. And that's one way, in my opinion, that I weed the agaves out, or that I'm able to weed the agaves out by looking at the sugar content because it's naturally supposed to be low glycemic index. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put maybe like a 1 tablespoon, not even, maybe like a teaspoon I'll put a teaspoon because it's a small pot of agave so it can cook down in that, and I'm going to cover that pot. And this one is, oh, you see all that steam? It's cooking down like I needed to. All right, we're going to see the rest soon. Okay, so the onions pretty much cooked down pretty well. It's been about 10 minutes. I have in my hand some bell peppers, different color bell peppers. These peppers are not spicy. I have some green bell peppers because I cut them kind of thick because I want them to be kind of thick with my mushroom steaks. I have some green bell peppers. I have some orange ones. And I have some red ones that I chopped up because I want it to be colorful. I like my food colorful. I'm going to let that cook in there a little bit. Stir it up. Let's stir that up. Wait a minute. That piece got in there. Smells good. Oh, 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 oh. It smells good. Food for the soul. It smells good. Food for the soul. What they do. Oh, yeah. That's how you know it smells good, because it got me singing. So now I'm going to put my mushroom caps, these Portabella mushroom caps in here. I pre-washed them. I have 3 caps that I'm cooking today. I'm going to put them inside of my pot. I'm going to show you guys what this looks like so far. I like to use the whole thing. I don't cut off the bottom. Mushrooms are such an interesting and amazing food, and there's so many variations of mushrooms. They're mineral rich, and you even have mushrooms that are good for helping to rebuild the synapses in the brain and helping with memory. Stuff like lion's mane are good for, those kind of mushrooms are good for Alzheimer's and dementia and things like that. In addition to that, you have something else I was going to bring about mushrooms. You have different types of mushrooms with different textures, as I mentioned earlier. You have turkey of the forest, you have chicken of the forest mushrooms. They go by different names, but some of them have a similar meaty texture. And over time, you guys are going to see as I do more recipes, I'm going to show you guys. But right now, our mushroom caps are just in there. I'm going to add some more water. They're in there with the onions and the peppers. So I'm going to add some more water to it. And I'm going to add some of my homemade moringa seasoning. Matter of fact, let me add my moringa seasoning now. This seasoning is so good, y'all. I sell it on my website, return2pachamamaherbs.com. This is just my own home blend that I use for my cooking. A little sprinkle up in there. I'm silly, y'all. Don't pay me no mind. I'm going to add some more water. This is a recipe that doesn't take very long. So I have my cup. Let me go get my filtered water real quick. It's about like another cup of water that I'm adding in there. I actually need to put more water in here, but that's okay for the moment. And I'm going to use Teff flour like I used before. If you don't have Teff flour, you can use another flour. You can use kamut flour, spelt flour. If you use white flour, you can use white flour, wheat flour to kind of thicken the texture of the sauce as we start to create the sauce. Okay, because the sauce is going to be the gravy. That's going to pull it together. And always taste test your food as you go along. Just to make sure that it's coming out the way that you desire for it to come out. Okay? Yeah, part of the reason I'm adding more water in here is because I want it to be more thick and saucy. So my water, I put some water in my filter so it's filtering out. And then I'm gonna add maybe another cup or a cup and a half of water because I want it to do like to just be nice and thick and then simmer down as it cooks. I added my moringa seasoning. I'm gonna stir it a little bit. Smells so good. Oh my gosh. And sometimes I flip the mushroom sticks over, the mushroom caps, just to let it cook. You let it get like some of that marinade and different things. Let me take a little small sip. That's good. That's good. I will add a little more salt, but it's good. I need a little more of that moringa seasoning. Let me rinse this spoon off. Even though it's just me eating for me, I'm the only person here. I like to rinse it on this and then re-rinse it with the filtered water. I'm kind of funny like that. But the water quality where I live at is not too bad as far as I know from what I've looked up. I believe it comes from a well.
Incoming call.
Somebody always calls at the wrong time, right? That's okay. I'm gonna add a little bit more moringa seasoning in here. Like another little scoop of my moringa. It could all be so simple. But you rather make it hard? You ain't gotta make it hard. I'm gonna put some more pink Himalayan salt. That's probably like maybe like a tablespoon. And now I'm going to add the Teff flour that I have here. Let's see, this is about 1/4 of a cup. That's gonna give it that brown color. And remember, Teff is very mineral rich. I talk about it in my book, and I also talk about it in one of my other previous videos where I use Teff flour. So I'm gonna pour the Teff flour in here. Now, for some recipes, I won't just put the flour directly in there. I'll actually put some water, stir it up, and then mix it. But the way I'm gonna mix this down is completely fine. I'm gonna stir this around, and then I'm gonna add. I think the filter is almost done. The filter is almost done filtering the tap water for me. That filter that I bought too filters out fluoride, which was a big problem for me when I suffered from thyroid illness. Fluoride affects your thyroid illness very much. So I'm going to pour about a cup of water in here. Add this to the pot. I think I'm going to need more than a cup. I'm going to put like 2.5. Those beets smell good too. Those beets and sweet potatoes. Put a little bit more, like 1/2 cup. I just put about 2.5 cups to add to it. Oh, these commercials. I'm trying to jam in here. That popping sound that you hear is the beets and stuff cooking. The top that I put is a little bit big because I can't find the one that's that size. So some of the water, from the steam is coming at the top, is dripping down, and that's what you hear in fizzling. So we're gonna let this cook. I'm gonna put the top over it again. Let me taste the seasoning again. Hold on. Not the seasoning. Let me taste the liquid again. That's good. Almost tastes like a soup broth, but I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna add some garlic powder, some onion powder. I think it'll be good with a little garlic powder, onion powder, and annatto. My onion powder, I actually used the last bit. I don't have a lot left. I'm also going to add a little bit of ground oregano. It's just, oregano is just good stuff. I'm going to add some annatto. Annatto doesn't have a very strong taste to it. It's a bright red, but it's not spicy at all. Doesn't have any kind of like spiciness to it. But I like to add annatto in some recipes because I look at annatto I know this may sound crazy, but I look at it as like nature's MSG. I wouldn't consume MSG, but a natural, healthy. Something about annatto, when I put it in my food, it just makes me want to keep coming back for more. And this is my garlic powder. I have roasted garlic powder. If you don't want to use garlic, that's completely fine. You don't have to use the specific seasonings that I'm using. This is just what I'm choosing to use. And I'm going to stir this around some more. And I'm going to cover it with the top, let it cook down, and start on my Brussels sprouts while the beets and the sweet potatoes are cooking, and while the mushroom steaks are cooking and developing their thick, beautiful gravy. Get that piece off there. All right. See y'all soon. So I'm going to taste. It's very hot, but I'm going to taste the sweet potato to see if it's soft enough and cooked down enough. That's good, y'all. It tastes like candy yams almost. So my sweet potatoes are definitely ready, and my beets. Let me pick one of the beets. It's not as soft as the sweet potato, but it's soft enough where you can eat it. Because beets are a little harder. And it's good. It's real good. So that's done. I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to start with my Brussels sprouts. I'm going to kind of pan fry them with organic sesame oil. And when we are done, I'm going to show you the finished product of the whole plate, y'all. I'm so excited for y'all to enjoy. Please give me feedback, comment if you make this recipe. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you liked it. Let me know if you did something different that you paired your mushroom steaks with. We're gonna see. Once the mushroom steaks are done, I'm gonna show it to you guys one last time, and then I'm gonna plate it, and you guys are gonna see what it looks like. I'm gonna post a picture of the finished product. You guys, I think you guys are really gonna love it. See y'all soon. Okay, you guys, I want you guys to see how the mushroom sticks are looking so far. It looks beautiful, but what I want to do is I want to make the sauce even thicker. So I'm going to add more Teff flour. My Brussels sprouts, I'm using this seasoning from McCormick to season it, just to give it like a little extra bang. It's garlic, onion, black pepper, sea salt, lemon peel, chili pepper, oregano, parsley, and mustard brand. Just give it a little bit of funkiness to it. Okay, y'all, I'm going to show y'all one last peek at these mushroom steaks. They look so freaking good, y'all. Can y'all see that? Let me put that there for a second. Look at the thickness of the sauce. See the gravy? This gravy is so good, y'all. Oh my gosh, y'all gonna love it. That's a piece that was stuck on there from the Teff flour. But I'm about to plate it. I'm glad that fell off though, so you guys can see the beets and sweet potatoes. Let me turn this down so you guys can see it. And these are still cooking, and once these are done, I can plate it. These are my Brussels sprouts. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed today. Let me know in the comment section. Please share my video, like, and subscribe. I appreciate all the love. Peace, y'all.